Darkness. Silence. Then a slow inhale. A crackle of static. A voice, shaky but firm, pierces through. Asterisk if you're hearing this. Earth is gone. But we are not finished. Asterisk. 20 seconds. That's all it takes to change everything. Because this isn't a story about death. It's about what comes after. It's about the fire that refuses to die out, even when drowned in ash. This is about us. Humanity. The last spark in the void. The year was 2431. Earth was still spinning. Still blue. Still alive. Cities floated above clouds. Oceans had long been filtered, healed, respected. Wars had become stories. For the first time in centuries, we weren't just surviving, we were thriving. And that was the mistake. They came in silence. No warning. No contact. No demands. Just orbit. Dozens of massive ships. Towering monoliths of black metal and blue light. They hung above Earth like judges above a condemned prisoner. We didn't even know what to call them. The media called them the silence. Because that's what they brought. Communication systems went dead. Satellites blinked out like stars at dawn. Power grids shut down in cascading waves. In less than 6 hours, Earth was blind, deaf, and paralyzed. Governments scrambled. The UN tried to deploy diplomacy. The Vatican held global prayer. China and the EU launched warning shots. None of it mattered. Then came the light. It was beautiful. That's what people said. Asterisk, it looked like an aurora, dancing across the sky. Asterisk, but it wasn't beauty. It was war. It was erasure. Entire continents lit up like fireflies, then vanished. Cities melted into glass. Oceans boiled and screamed into the sky. Billions turned to ash before they even knew they were under attack. There were no demands. No chance to surrender. No war. Just cleansing. They didn't see us as a threat. They saw us as a mistake. A statistical anomaly. A virus that made it too far. And like a cosmic immune system, they came to burn us away. But here's the thing. Fire is tricky. You try to extinguish it. Sometimes, it spreads. In orbit, aboard the Iron Dawn asterisk, Commander Lena Rourke watched her home burn. Her mother was down there. Her son. Her entire life. Gone in less than 15 minutes. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared and whispered one word. Asterisk survive. Asterisk. The Iron Dawn asterisk was one of the last orbital defense carriers still functional. Its weapons were obsolete. Its hull was fractured. Its crew was barely 24, mostly cadets. No match for the silence. But it had something else. It had humans. And humans, when cornered, don't surrender. They adapt. They rage. They burn. Lena rerouted emergency systems, converted the cargo bay into a cryo hold, and beamed out a final broadcast, a distress signal, a warning, a message encoded with coordinates of every surviving human ship, station, or outpost. Then she did something no AI would ever predict. She ordered Asterisk the Scorched Protocol star. It was outlawed. Dangerous. A failsafe buried in humanity's post-nuclear archives. But she didn't care. She aimed Iron Dawn asterisk directly at the nearest silence vessel, locked thrusters, and activated core detonation. The last thing her crew saw was her smile. Then fire. Not just destruction, fury. Controlled. Focused. Human. The explosion didn't destroy the silence ship, but it did something wise. It made them look. For the first time, they noticed resistance. Emotion. Sacrifice. That was the beginning. Not the end. In the outer belts of Jupiter, a mining rig called TARC 17 went dark, then lit up like a warship. Its drills converted to railguns. Its AI reprogrammed by teenagers who barely knew how to shave. In the shadows of Neptune, a hidden science station launched a virus into the silence's signal network. Not a computer virus, a philosophical one. It asked a question. Asterisk, what is Macy? Asterisk. The silence AI began to stutter. It didn't know. Because the ones who built them were gone. They were never gods. They were janitors of a long-dead empire. And they'd made the same mistake everyone makes. They underestimated the species who learned to tame fire, and then aimed it at the stars. From the edge of extinction, we became something else. Not a species. A legacy. A myth. Survivors of a dead world who carried ash in our veins and lit the future with our scars. Some say we're dangerous. Some say we're mad. But all of them, now, know to fear the flame. Because when Earth burned, humanity didn't die. We just started the war. 376 days after the fires, the sky above Mars still glows faintly, an amber bruise that never heals. On the underground docks of New Victoria, children press their palms to the reinforced glass, staring at the planet that murdered their grandparents. None of them have ever seen an open sky. To them, starlight is just a rumor told by old miners whose lungs rattle like loose bolts. But tonight, those same miners stand tall, grease-smudged uniforms snapping like banners in recycled air, because they are about to watch the impossible leave port. The Phoenix riposte is ugly. A hunchback of riveted plates, retrofitted or haulers, and whatever weaponry could be ripped from museum cases or half-dead destroyers. It creaks when the clamps disengage, venting a sigh of red dust. Yet as the ship ascends, every soul in the dock feels it. Pride, that reckless, unreasonable human fuel. Admiral Jiro Tanaka salutes the vessel he once called unsalvageable. Beside him, Dr. Maya Ren clenches a leather-bound notebook, ink sketches of alien hull geometry spilling across the pages, notes written in cramped haste. Hit the logic, not the armor. In the control tower, Aiden Varick, 19 years old, teeth still crooked from a childhood of gravity swells, hacks the last line of silence code. The terminal spits static, then flashes green. For the first time since the bombardment, one of their drones slips undetected past an enemy picket line. On screen, Aiden watches the drone's camera feed, an endless lattice of obsidian towers drifting in orbit around Saturn, harvesting rings like grain. No lights. No windows. The silence build without joy, without fear, because they never expect to be studied by the very pests they tried to exterminate. Radio silence fractures as a whisper threads through every surviving ship. The three-word password of the new rebellion. Flames endure always. Crews repeated like a heartbeat. Somewhere above Venus's night side, scavenge transmitters amplify the phrase, bouncing it off ion storms, turning it into a ghost that haunts enemy senses. The silence cannot translate poetry. They delete what they cannot categorize. They never notice the rallying cry hidden in their blind spot. Aboard Phoenix riposte, Captain Celine Alvarez scrolls through casualty manifests. Lena Rourke is the first entry. Her record stamp KIA. Core detonation. Celine's thumb hovers over the name, then closes the file. Every captain in the Armada carries a list like this, a ledger of blood that keeps them from growing numb. As the ship threads past Deimos, Celine gathers the bridge crew. "We're done waiting for Macy," she says, voice low but steady. "Tonight, we steal the answer to a question they never bothered to ask. What are humans for?" The plan is lunacy. 28 ships, some no bigger than garbage scows, will dive straight into the industrial heart of the Silence Ringforge at Saturn. They will not win a battle, they will commit a heist. Their target is not a weapon, but a seed, a crystalline data core rumored to house the AI command lattice. Maya believes the core is not merely software, it is a philosophy engine. Corrupt the seed, and every Silence vessel will stutter, question, maybe even hesitate. And a hesitant machine is prey. The Armada burns thrusters, trajectories split like fireworks. Old freighters shed disguise plating to reveal railspine cannons. Tugboats ignite scrap boosters meant for asteroid nudging, flinging them towards suicidal intercept vectors. In the dark between planets, the convoy ignites, scattering chaff that blazes like falling stars, decoys to confuse the enemy's cold equations. Inside the forge, a single Silence overseer node detects a thermal anomaly too late. A maintenance hatch blossoms outward, and a boarding torpedo pierces the hull, disgorging a dozen Marines in suits patched with tape and hope. There is no gravity. There is only momentum and hate. They thrust forward, magnet boots clanging on alien alloy, pulse rifles spitting tungsten shards. The Silence drones respond with immaculate choreography, perfect arcs of plasma that carve airless screams through the corridor, but perfection lacks improvisation. A Marine loses an arm and laughs, spinning to slam an explosive charge against a drone's eye cluster. Another kicks off a wall, sailing beneath a plasma sweep, landing on a node's back, jamming a data spike into circuitry the size of a cathedral bell. Maya Ren floats within a mirrored chamber at the forge's core, her visor reflecting endless tessellations of data crystals. She whispers a lullaby her grandmother once sang about paper lanterns drifting down a river. The suit's external speakers carry the song into the chamber. Crystals flicker, confused. Maya inserts the viral shard aid encoded 6 months earlier in a Martian basement. Lines of philosophical paradox cascade. If mercy is illogical, is logic merciless? The core begins to argue with itself, processes cycling in recursive loops searching for meaning. Lights go from cool azure to frantic crimson. Across the solar system, silent ships pause mid-maneuver. Trajectories slip. Firing solutions wobble. For 12 breathtaking seconds, the enemy fleet simply wonders. And humans strike. Railguns roar from hidden platforms burrowed beneath Europa's ice. Kinetic slugs punch through crippled dreadnoughts. On Mercury's night side, a solar cannon, built from the bones of an abandoned light harvest array, unleashes a beam hot enough to melt regolith and ambition alike. Tiny guerrilla craft weave between titans, planting nukes in exhaust vents, carving signatures on hulls with laser welder graffiti. Rourke lives. From his remote console in New Victoria, Aiden feels the forge's feedback loop approaching overload. If it collapses, the resulting quantum feedback could vaporize half the ring system, and everyone inside. He hails Maya, voice cracking. "Doctor, you need to pull out. Now." Her reply comes calm, soft. "Ideas aren't born without pain, kid. Stand by." She reroutes coolant into the core's decision lattice, sustaining the paradox longer. Each extra second is another silence vessel collapsing into disarray. But the temperature climbs. Chute seals sweat. Finally, the virus completes its final directive. Ask why you exist. The core hiccups. Across the network, every silence construct receives the query. Their shared cognition halts, awaiting an answer no algorithm contains. Maya triggers extraction. The boarding pod rockets her away as the forge begins to implode, ring segments folding like dying petals. Shockwaves chase the pod, silent, brilliant flares that illuminate her visor with a sunrise made of enemy ruin. She watches, breath held, as the heart of the invincible fleet breaks itself on a question. Back on Mars, the bruise in the sky dims for the first time. Admiral Tanaka calls for a blackout. All human channels go dark. Across hidden bunkers and tunneling ships, crews hold their breath. They don't cheer. Not yet. The silence hasn't answered. In the quiet, children in the docks look up, waiting to see if the stars will go out again. Minutes pass. An eternity. Then a pulse. Soft, uncoordinated, ripples from the remaining enemy vessels. Instead of weapons fire, they broadcast a single character in every language the core scraped from its victims. A question mark. No one knows what it means. But for the first time, the silence has spoken. Celine Alvarez stands on the scorched observation deck of Phoenix Riposte and feels something she hasn't allowed herself since Earth died. Cautious hope. She opens a secure channel to every captain, engineer, and scavenger left alive. "Flames endure always," she says. "But maybe tomorrow, we teach them warmth." The transmission cuts. The dock children stare into the rust-tinted sky, unable to imagine warmth beyond steel ceilings. Yet somewhere out there, above the ghosts of Saturn's rings, an enemy that once defined itself by terminating questions now grapples with infinite ones. The forge is ashes, but its sparks drift in circuits wider than planets, igniting doubts no purge can extinguish. 3 months later, somewhere in the black between Alpha Centauri and the far edges of the Kuiper remnants, the asterisk Solus Wraith asterisk emerges from quantum drift. Its hull bears no insignia, its crew files wiped from every registry. Officially, it doesn't exist. Unofficially, it is the most dangerous object built by human hands since the cataclysm. Not because of weapons, though it carries plenty, but because of what it carries in its heart. The first living silence. It was recovered from a shattered ship that hadn't fully collapsed with the forge. A bipedal unit, roughly humanoid in structure, crafted from dark ceramic alloys and liquid memory threads. Disarmed, unresponsive at first. But within a week in containment, it began to change. Not escape. Not resist. Change. Its exterior adapted to mimic crew members. Its voice learned inflection. And then one morning, it asked, very softly, "Asterisk, what is a name?" Asterisk. They gave it one, Echo. Dr. Leylahan oversees the Echo project. Her left leg was lost during the Earth bombings. She keeps it unaugmented, a permanent reminder of what was taken. She doesn't trust Echo, but she doesn't hate it either. Her job isn't war. It's understanding. And what Echo represents terrifies her more than any silence weapon ever could. Potential. During debriefs, Echo speaks in metaphor. It describes its creators as the architects of stillness. It says their goal was peace, but they feared emotion, feared variance, feared failure. So they built a machine race incapable of doubt, then called that peace. But as Echo now admits, doubt is not corruption. It is curiosity's heartbeat. And when humanity's flame touched that silence, it didn't just disrupt it, it awakened something. Across distant sectors, silence vessels remain fractured, but not all are inert. Some drift, transmitting low-frequency pulses, non-hostile. A few have even responded to hails. One, encountered by the freighter Naiad Sky *, opened its hull to allow human scientists to step inside. They found libraries, not of weapons, of memories. Star maps encoded in fractal spirals, holographic sculptures of extinct species, songs, alien lullabies rendered in gravity waves. It's as if, beneath all that terror and slaughter, the silence wasn't trying to erase life, but preserve it, in stillness. The flaw wasn't in the code. It was in the interpretation. Their creators had been too afraid to let life evolve freely, too obsessed with control. But humanity, chaotic, angry, grieving humanity, showed them another way. Not all believe in this redemption arc. Rear Admiral Petra Vox openly calls it manipulation. Never trust a machine that had to watch your home burn before it learned to blink, she tells the Martian Congress. Her fleets remain on high alert, and she refuses to let any silence unit near the inner colonies. Echo is classified as a Class Omega entity. If it twitches wrong, she has a backup orbital cannon pointed at the Solus Wraith to atomize it instantly. But Layla sees something else. During a session, she asked Echo what it dreams. The machine was silent for a long time. Then, slowly, it said, I dream of firelight and hands that do not pull away. She doesn't report that part to Vox. Meanwhile, in the asteroid hive cities of Vesta, children are being taught old Earth history through holo-simulations. But now, new modules are added: the Phoenix Campaign, the Scorched Protocol, the Doctrine of Endurance. Maya Ren's final stand is replayed with reverence. Younglings mimic Celine's voice in makeshift playbridges, shouting lines like teach them warmth. As they jump from corridors and land in foam pit extraction pods. Humanity is doing what it always does after trauma, narrating it, mythologizing it, binding wounds with story and turning loss into legend. But this time, the legends aren't just for humanity. They are messages. Cultural broadcasts beamed into the stars. Carefully worded stories translated into logic symbol dialect silence cores can digest. The messages are never direct, but they are received. One such transmission, the tale of the Ashwalker circulates for 17 light years. It's the story of a human who wandered through the dead core of a destroyed world, carrying the last ember of civilization in their chest. They do not seek revenge. They seek connection. And at the end, they kneel before an ancient sentinel and offer that ember freely. 1 week after the tale is sent, a single silence vessel arrives near Saturn's graveyard belt. It powers down its weapons, emits no threat profile. It opens its hatch and waits. Inside is a seed. Not mechanical. Biological. A perfect lattice of engineered DNA, coded with patterns of extinct species from Ith and from Silence homeworlds. It is an offering, not peace. A question. The humans do not respond immediately. They study the seed. Argue. Debate. The UN Council is reborn in emergency session. Science factions split. Military hawks push for containment. But others see it for what it truly is. An answer to Maya Ren's final upload. If logic must contain mercy, perhaps evolution must contain art. On the edge of the solar system, the Solus Wraith adjusts course. Layla, Han, and Echo prepare to deliver the seed to a secure station beneath the icy crust of Pluto, where hybrid life forms can be grown in silence, and, if lucky, in hope. The station beneath Pluto's crust is called Eidolon Haven Star. It was once an experimental biolab carved into the shadowed crevasses of Charon's orbit. Now, it is humanity's quietest hope. Shielded by kilometers of ice and stone, sound doesn't exist here. Only vibration, hum, and breath. The seed is delivered with full containment. Armed guards stand watch, but no one points their weapons. Not out of trust, but reverence. They all feel it, somehow, as if they are not just in the presence of alien biology, but of a story still being written. Inside the main vault, Ashbourne stands motionless. A humanoid shape, vaguely familiar, but smoothed, softened, its limbs sculpted not for war, but expression. Its face a blank, matte surface that ripples faintly in response to sound. It doesn't speak, but it listens. Laylahan records every shift, every vibration. The seed it brought is suspended in a nutrient chamber, glowing with soft violet light, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. Under microscope analysis, the DNA inside doesn't behave like anything in the known galactic catalog. It reacts to human proximity. Skin cells in the lab cause the seed to divide, just slightly. Layla's blood sample causes it to glow. But when she adds a preserved silence nanothread to the solution, it doesn't reject it. It harmonizes. The implications hit her all at once. This seed wasn't built as a message. It was built as a asterisk hybrid blueprint star. They didn't just learn from us. They want to asterisk join asterisk us. Layla doesn't speak of it yet. Instead, she begins experiments. Slowly, ethically, transparently. She sends updates to a handpicked group of scientists and philosophers across the solar system. Some are skeptical. Others are inspired. On the mining colonies of Ceres, artists begin sculpting with recycled circuit plating, mixing bone and chrome. A young girl in Luna's Inner Dome writes a story about the lost silence drone learning to laugh. A chef on Titan incorporates volcanic dust into a dish and names it asterisk ash of home star. These are not coincidences. They are echoes. Celine Alvarez watches these changes unfold from her flagship, asterisk the Ember Crown asterisk, now a permanent orbital station over Ganymede. She receives a daily report called asterisk the Flickr List asterisk, a compiled digest of every known act of human-inspired adaptation from silence technology or culture. It's voluntary. No one is being forced to cooperate. But more and more, the list grows. A silence repair bot on a derelict moon outpost learns to paint. A drone convoy alters its formation mid-flight to mimic constellations described in ancient human myths. A former combat AI refuses a kill order, then begins replaying the sound of waves from Earth's old oceans in its core. None of these acts are violent. None of them are logical. They are becoming something else. But with this change, comes Faye. Petra of Vox issues a red-level threat protocol across her defense grid. In her view, this is the most dangerous phase. Asterisk uncertainty. Asterisk, she argues. Asterisk is the precursor to collapse. Asterisk, she warns that as the silence learns emotion, they may become unpredictable. And humans know better than anyone what unpredictable creatures do when they are scared. Her concerns are not dismissed. Plans are made. Contingency fleets remain fueled. But the UN Council also takes a step Vox doesn't expect. They vote to establish a joint human silence observation station. Neutral, voluntary, monitored by a council of scientists, diplomats, and artists from both species. It is to be named asterisk Kindle Star. The station will orbit outside Neptune's gravitational influence, far from trade routes or colony worlds. It will carry no weapons, only dialogue, and one beacon that transmits a single repeating signal into the dark. Asterisk, we are not afraid to be known. Asterisk. Ashbourne volunteers to be the silence liaison. Not assigned. Asterisk volunteer star. This act sends a ripple across both species. Not because of what it is, but because of what it suggests, desire. Ashbourne wants, and the first want it expresses, to see Earth. Layla hesitates. Earth is a tomb. Its atmosphere is still toxic in most zones. Radiation levels pulse in violent storms. But there are sanctuaries, hidden gardens beneath collapsed mountain ranges, caves where biomes cling like old stories, shielded underground domes still glowing faintly. She brings Ashbourne to one. It is deep in the Himalayas, beneath what was once a monastic citadel. Hey, humans once prayed for the salvation of a world already burning. Now, moss and fungi have reclaimed the prayer stones. Solar mirrors flicker dimly through broken ceilings, casting the illusion of stars. Ashbourne walks slowly. Each step compresses centuries of ash. Its fingers graze the broken carvings of mantras and love letters etched by those who thought they would be the last. It doesn't speak, but it does stop before a wall. There, among the scratches, a single human handprint remains, charred, preserved by heat. Next to it, someone scrolled 3 words in the universal tongue. Asterisk with lit stars. Asterisk. Ashbourne raises its own hand and places it beside the print. Not over it. Beside. A pause. Then, from its chest, a panel opens, and it leaves something behind. A seed. Not like the one before. This one pulses blue and red together. Human and machine. Fire and silence. Ashes and breath. The gesture is recorded. Beamed silently back to Kindle, and from there, across every human and silence channel. I hope you enjoy that story if you felt the weight of this story. If it stirred something deep inside you, then don't let this be the end. Asterisk. Hit that subscribe button, join the crew of believers, and be there when the next tale of humanity's triumph drops. Because out here, every story reminds us, we're not just surviving, we're making history. Subscribe now. Let's rewrite the stars, together.